I think a child can make a decision probably as young as 5, 6, 7 years old.
Okay, so don't move. I'm going to count down. Remember, the rule is very simple. So, boys and girls should be raised differently. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay. Tell them why you strongly disagree.
I just feel like boys and girls should be raised the same. There shouldn't be any difference between the way that they're raised.
Why?
I don't have a specific reason why. It's just everyone should be raised the same. Like, it shouldn't matter what your perceived sexual or gender identity is. It should just be...
Everybody should be a boy, girl, and what do you think?
I was thinking that there are some intrinsic values here that we do have to acknowledge, like boys and girls, you have to understand your body and understand the change of life. So you do have to acknowledge the fact that your composition is different. So you don't necessarily need to acknowledge that. Yeah.
You agree or disagree?
No, I totally agree with that, because I think it's just a matter of the definition of the question. So to me, the question is, in a utopian world, should we raise boys and girls the same, like raising them, as opposed to like what you educate them about or like how you help them develop? I totally agree that has to be nurtured differently depending on their identity. But in terms of like the premier world that we would all love to live in, wouldn't it be nice if we could just raise kids as kids to be good humans?
You agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what about certain toys? Do you think it's true that girls may have proclivities to certain toys, like, and boys would have proclivities to toys that deal with things, and girls would have proclivities to deal with other kinds of toys, maybe dolls or something?
I think that's because of the way that they have been raised in previous generations.
Yeah.
Like,
and social norm. I feel like society pushes those toys on children. Like, there are toys that are viewed as feminine or masculine toys that are pushed.
So by the time they're already playing with those toys, they've been conditioned that that's what they should do.
Right.
So
it's conditioned.
It's
conditioned before they're even born, though. Like before.
A gender reveal, you know, they're going to be if it's going to be a girl, it's going to be automatically pink, and if it's a boy, it's blue, and then everybody focuses on that. Right. Yeah. So then it's like there's
before the child even has an option, or just like the thought of before they can't even make a decision on who they.
Do you think that? Okay, two things. If we, like you had mentioned, you had mentioned your utopia. Like if we were to raise in a kind of a blind society, boys and girls the same, do you think we would have an equal distribution in the professions among men and women, like steel workers, umpires?
That's a very detailed question, and I haven't really thought about it. If it was truly raised neutrally, I think there would be a greater distribution, but I think there may be some natural proclivities, and it's hard to say because I've not been raised in that utopian society.
Yeah. I think I'm just now learning about non-binary, different types of, gender. You don't have to just be a boy or a girl, but again, it's totally different from when I grew up.
We're not
versus
anymore. We are imprinted with what we've been burdened with or what we've been educated with, whether it's a correct education.
Unfortunately, you pass that on. But again, since we're learning, all these new things about gender identity, it's like, okay, well, then I try to teach my boys, okay, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. It's whoever you feel, inside that you feel the most comfortable, that you feel like you're safe to be your true self.
Okay, what's the second best explanation besides society for why girls like to play with dolls more than boys?
I don't know. I don't think there's a specific reason why girls gravitate towards dolls. It could be because that's what is shown to them. That
would be the society then, though.
I guess so, yeah.
Do you have an explanation?
I think maybe because not even doesn't nothing to do with society, but they physically identify with that doll. The doll is a feminine creation with long hair, generally speaking, and they see that and identify with that, so they want to play and gravitate.
Would that explanation go to explain why more girls play with Ken dolls rather than boys?
No, because again, that goes back to society. The boys are conditioned to not play with dolls. So
Yeah.
yes, the girls will play with the Ken dolls over the boys because, again, that's
Part of their repertoire when they get, again, this.
But then boys play with GI Joes. That's a doll. Like, how are you gonna say
Right?
they don't call it a doll, but they don't call it a doll, but it's a doll. Like by definition standards, like that's a doll.
So you said something that I want to ask you about. What does gender identity mean? Oh, wait a minute. What line are you on there? Okay, don't cheat now. What what does gender identity mean?
Again, I'm going by what I learned.
Yeah, sure.
So again, you're a girl or you're a boy, and then in that regard, you're expected to act a certain way, dress a certain way. But again, now with, I think with like GLB, what is it, LGBTQ plus, we've always had these, the people. It's just not been something that they felt comfortable that they could, actually share or live again, be open about it. Because there's history that shows, again, if you don't fit into this norm, they're going to make your life a living hell, and you're not going to want to, stay in this area or be with these people, and then you're pretty much alone, right? Because they're saying you don't match or you don't fit into their square peg or whatever.
Okay, so I want to center back on the question in a second. Should boys and girls be raised differently? If you don't mind me asking a personal question, does anybody have kids?
Yeah.
You have what, boys or girls?
2 boys.
Did you raise them? How did you raise them? How did you raise them?
I mean, I bought my son a doll and he loved it. Harry loved his doll. I let him based on like what he seemed to have interest in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to make myself to be ultra progressive, but I wanted to see what he wanted. And he naturally had a more sort of engineering mind. So he liked the magnet tiles and the stuff that you build.
Got
He
it.
loved his doll.
Okay.
And he still has a blanket at 17 years old. Like he has nurturing elements that
That you let naturally come out.
Okay,
right?
I'm gonna do something different. Let's go to the neutral line again. Here's a new claim. Children, don't go move until I say move, should always have their gender identity affirmed. Children should always have their gender identity affirmed. Think about it for a second. You don't have to move if you don't want to. You can go any line. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. You don't look at them, make your own decision. Make your own decision. Children should always have their gender identity affirmed.
like affirmed by society or by
Affirmed by parents, affirmed by their parents.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I agree. Then.
Okay.
Should not or should?
Should.
No, I'm still new.
You're neutral. Children should always have their gender identity affirmed.
I think that there are pros and cons to both aspects of it. At the end of the day, if we're trying to be progressive and instill these new ideals, it is something that we need to acknowledge that children, it is a good idea to express yourself and feel what you need to feel on the inside.
Should we be progressive?
I would hope that we would evolve into progressiveness, because I think that the repressiveness that we've been facing is starting to rear its ugly head and causing us to make these changes.
Okay, cool. So children should always have their gender. Why did you step on disagree?
I don't think anybody needs to tell you what your gender is or who you are. If gender is a social construct, then why does society need to tell you who you are or what you are? If you want to affirm that within yourself and subscribe to a gender norm created by society, then that's on you. That's your right, and you should be able to, but I don't think anybody else needs to tell you.
Do you think gender is a social construct?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. Gender is identity, and you can identify. I think this, yeah, it is. Male stereotype is a social construct.
Do you think sex is a social construct?
Mm, no.
You think sex is rooted in biology?
Yes, it's
Do you-
rooted.
Do you think it's? Do you think that? Say that again.
Are you talking about like X and Y? So automatically based on your, if you're a boy, is it X and Y, right?
Yeah.
Oh, chromosomes. Sorry, I'm like. So is that what you were saying, that sex is?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. That second part of the question is.
Do you think it's more likely that someone, excuse the vulgarity, but someone born with a penis would perform as a traditional male than someone born with a vagina?
Is it more likely?
Yeah.
Yes.
What? And then I'm gonna take the pressure off you in a second. I'm asking a lot of hard questions. What's the difference between sex and gender? Anybody want to have a go with that? I just went to
orientation.
I just went to you because he went like that too.
Is the question sexual
No,
orientation?
sex, like biology.
Well,
You don't have to answer. He just went like this. That's why I went over to you.
He typically has a lot to say about it.
I mean, gender.
Hold on. Now you get a chance to think. Okay, what's the difference between sex and gender? Anybody want to go? I'm going to try the next time I want someone to answer. I'm going to nudge them like that. Sex and gender. Did you do? Oh yeah, you want to go? Sure.
Well, sex goes back to your anatomical makeup, and gender is whatever you conform to, or identify as, in a social way.
And how many sexes are there?
Don't ask me that question. That's a hard question to answer and not feel the heat for it.
If you're doing it by traditional, there's only two, right?
Well, let's say how many sexes do you think there are?
Again, I have no issue with someone claiming they're saying that they're non-binary, so I would accept that.
But that would be a gender thing.
Oh. Yeah, so it is, you're right. It's difficult to kind of like go down the line and figure out exactly.
Are there more than 10 sexes?
I have no idea.
Are there more than 100 sexes? Are there more than 100 sexes?
So, I mean, I honestly, maybe I don't understand the definition, but to me, sex is sort of like on the very simplistic terms, it's sort of the physical manifestation of your X and Y chromosome.
Tell them over there so he can hear.
Well, to me, I could be wrong, but I think of sex as the physical manifestation of like your X and Y chromosome. Society is more on the gender side to me, which is sort of like I can identify your sex from a medical perspective, just science-wise, might be male based on your chromosomes and your appendages and all of that. And your gender can be that could be all kinds of things that we haven't even named.
Gender can be a very wide spectrum of
Face this way.
I identify as a cisgender male person, but like it could be very fluid on that scale of it could be a very fluid scale of cisgender. Like cisgender is typically like you are born in a male body with male appendage, penis, but like you identify as male, right? That's
Are
not
you
always
asking? Or you
no,
tell?
I'm
The answer would be yes. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so that is a scale that like I identify as that as well.
Okay.
But some people don't identify as that. It could be born with male appendage and
Can people be wrong about how they self-identify in terms of their gender or their sex?
can they be wrong about it?
Yeah.
No, because that's their own personal journey. Like how can you be wrong about the way that you're presenting?
What if you change your mind in 10 years?
Then that's their journey.
So you were right at time T, like they say. They were right at one time, but then you changed your mind. But you weren't wrong then.
It's a right or wrong or like a change your mind. I think it's a fluid like life journey. Like
So you can't be wrong about how, like, if you say that you feel like you're in some body, you can't be wrong about that. Can you be wrong? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
Yeah.
You can absolutely be wrong that you're in the wrong body. Like,
No, you can't be wrong about the fact that you can be wrong about it. I shouldn't have taken it to meta level. Like, you can't.
okay.
Yeah. So you're all. In other words, you're always right. If I say that I feel like a woman, I don't. But like, if somebody says they feel like a woman, then they can't be wrong about that. They're always right about that. Yes.
Absolutely. It's as you were saying, that's that person's individual journey, and they may not always identify as a woman. They might not always identify as a man. They could identify somewhere in between. And that's not for any one person to make that call,
Got it.
that judgment on that person's own path through life.
Got it. Can someone be wrong about their self-identified age?
No,
That's chronological.
What?
That's chronological.
So no.
you cannot say that you are younger or older than you are. Like, like
That has
age.
finite implications.
Age is something that's like is a set thing.
I know, but
Is age is age analogous to sex?
No.
So you can be wrong about your age, but you can't be wrong about your sex. Why?
Because age is part of how time is measured. It's linear. There is an only progression forward from time.
Can you be wrong about how you self-identify racially?
No. I was thinking of somebody.
Well, no, you made a point. There are people like Rachel Dolezal that identified as something completely contrast to what she was born as.
She's a white woman identified as a black woman,
Correct.
cis black woman.
Correct.
And can she be wrong about that?
I think that is something you can be wrong about. I think that goes back to kind of maybe your genetic composition. You know, that's not something you could necessarily undo.
So how come you can be wrong about how you racially identify and not how you sexually identify? Or yeah.
Well, that would go back to kind of being a gender thing, which is a societal construct. This is more of a scientific thing. Down in the depths of your DNA, it kind of defines how you came into this world.
Is sex related to genetics?
Yes, because genetics play a part in how you enter this world through that process of being created.
Age is related to genetics, or race is, if you know, race broadly construed is related to genetics. So I'm just trying to figure out why you can self-identify as one and not the other. Like Rachel Dolezal, you said, was a terrific example. Like, why did everybody say that she's wrong about that?
I don't think we've progressed to a point that we've enabled people to adjust their perception of their race at this point in time. Societally speaking, it's a problem.
Okay, we're almost finished. There's a couple quick questions. Is gender expression partially caused by genetics?
That gets into the argument of nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the question again?
Is gender expression partially caused by genetics? Partially is the key word there.
Maybe.
Remember when I asked, are people born with penises more likely to adopt a kind of culturally masculine, like, are they more likely to play with things and be interested in things as opposed to relationships, not because of society, but because of some genetic or inbred thing?
Playing with things like toys and stuff?
Well, not
Or-
well, or just whatever someone said proclivity. Maybe that was my word. Whatever the proclivity would be.
No, not mostly. No.
Okay, couple quick questions. How confident is everybody that there? I actually forgot what we were talking about. What was the initial claim?
We've had many claims.
Yeah, we've had many claims. Oh yeah,
To affirm your child's
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Should you always affirm? Should you always affirm your child's gender? Huh?
I never really understood it, even after we discussed it.
Well, let's say that.
I think of it. What your question is like, if my child says they're male, shall I affirm that? I'd be like, yes, of course. And if they say they are female, regardless of what their sex on the birth certificate says, I say yes. I should affirm. I should affirm my child or my friends or my family members. So
You agree with her?
Yes.
that was my presumption of what your question was asking, which is why I said agree.
So,
which I may not agree with. So I don't know.
okay. So,
There's a lot of facets to that question. Like, you can interpret that question by affirming affirming is the key word there. Like,
is there a difference between a female versus a girl?
Probably not.
Let me
Enough to tell you
let
what it is.
me ask you a question. Now you have kids. You have kids, so you don't have guys. You're a little bit of a. So this is kind of a weird question. But as a parent, you look at the world differently. Trust me, you do. I'm telling you, it's a fact, right? Let's say that you had a child and they came to you and said, "Listen, I genuinely believe I was born in the wrong body, whatever it is," and they said, "I want to undergo medical treatment for this." Would you allow that?
Yeah, at appropriate age.
What age?
I don't know, but I think the kid's maturity plays into that and their consistency of knowing what that is. Because I think part of it is bodies change a lot over time, and there's certain things that need to take place at a certain point if you're going to commit. I think it's medically easier to do things on the younger side in some cases, and in other cases you don't want to stunt. Like I don't understand. I'm not a doctor, but I've read a few things about it where the pivotal point of making certain changes may come earlier or later. So in terms of a mental commitment to it, I would probably want them to be like, I didn't have any interest one way or another in any sort of sex preference that was obvious to me until I was into my teen years. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know that someone younger than that may have.
So yeah, so I don't want to mischaracterize you guys. If I understand what you said correctly, you can't be wrong. Somebody can't be wrong about being born in the wrong body. Did I get that right?
Say it again.
Like if like I was born a male, to use your verbiage, a cis male. If I tomorrow, it should be rather astonishing, but I guess it's possible. If I tomorrow said, you know what, I'm feeling like I've suppressed this desire. I'm really a woman, and I want to undergo some kind of a physical transformation. I can't be wrong about that. Is that your stance?
I would say that's your journey.
Journey. Yeah.
Journey.
Yeah.
Like, if that is how you identify, that is how you identify at that time.
Totally.
And that can be a fluid change through your life. You can be.
Okay, so here's my question to you then. If it can be a fluid change throughout your life, then if somebody is young and chooses to undergo certain procedures, those are irreversible, then it takes away the opportunity for them at a later age to like it stops their journey.
I see where you're going on this conversation.
Yeah.
I agree with
you.
I have no agenda, by the way.
No, but I can see where you're leading this conversation, and I feel like that option, not having that option,
Not yet.
like not having that option to have medical care to affirm your gender would be detrimental to a child.
So this is the question then, if I have understood this correctly. The question then is, at what age?
I think
Because you use the word child. And what age does that mean to you? I mean below 18, above, below, no? Yeah.
below, I think a child can make a decision probably as young as 5, 6, 7 years old.
Okay, so I,
say
yeah.
can go to their parents. Because I know like there's experiences that where a child has gone and said, I am in the wrong body. I do not identify as my gender. So
Okay.
that is, I feel like those are pretty powerful words if you're saying I am in the wrong
Do
body.
you have to go? Okay, real quick. So just so someone 5 should be able to undergo like treatments and stuff, or it's not too young.
I think
I'm sure there's a whole protocol.
Yeah. Do you just real quick? Do you agree? Is 5 too young to undergo medical treatment or transition
As long as they're being supervised medically and it's been
by a doctor?
yes, of course, because like she just said, there has to be a process that's in place for that. And if they go through the process and determine that they align with that, then medically, if they can do it, then go ahead.
Cool. All right. Hey, thanks. I hope this made you think about some stuff. I like asking tough questions. Thanks for playing. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Work hard.
How to have impossible conversations.